Hello guys, my name is Taz. Welcome to my channel. I just made a video about the product I'm using in this video to replace all my other products. So I have to separate my mind from that and start over. I do have a, I have a word. Skit, not a skit. Reminder sheet to stay on task. But my name is Taz. I don't think I've ever said my actual name on here. That's crazy. Sounded weird even coming out of my mouth. My name is Taz. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, also welcome. And hopefully you will subscribe and enjoy this content. Hopefully it's informative and hopefully it helps you out, because the number one question I receive is, well, maybe number two. The first is where I get my lovely planters. And if you're curious on where we get all of our stuff, make sure to click on our profile, my YouTube profile page, and go to where the links are, and make sure to click on my Amazon storefront, and I have albums with everything we use right there for you. Easy, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But today we're going to be talking about pest control, what I use, what I don't use, what I've tried, and what I like, what I don't like. And I will be looking at my sheet to make sure that I am on task, because I like to side quest a lot, and we're going to try not to side quest. We're going to try and be as informative as possible without side questing. But Taz, we love your side quests. They break up the nonsense. Okay, so let's see. What are we gonna do? All right, so first of all, when we're talking about pest control, we are dealing with exterior pest control, interior pest control, and then what's my third one? I forgot. Pest preventative. So we have contact killers, pest preventatives, exterior, interior. It's all very important, and it's all going to be discussed very quickly. So if you're trying to get rid of your indoor pests, guys, thrips, aphids, mealybugs, spider mites, ants, gnats, mosquitoes, whatever, you need to spray the outside of your house. All the access points need to be sprayed. You need to secure that, because if they have an entry point to come in, they're going to keep coming in there, and they're going to lay eggs, and they're going to infest your entire house. And then you only have yourself to blame. I'm sorry, I'm very mean. But you do. You only have yourself to blame. If you're not protecting your exterior before worrying about your interior, you only have yourself to blame. Also, iced vanilla berry winter edition Red Bull is actually pretty good. I thought it was really pretty, so I made my husband go get me one. Not disappointed. Not sponsored by Red Bull. I should be. Make a lovely, what's it called when you're like, when you're on the front of the billboard and you're the spokesperson, not the spokesperson, I don't know, whatever, doesn't matter. But this is, well, this video is not sponsored by Pestie. The Pestie video that I have released after or before this, that one is by them, but I'm going to say it is anyways, because they did give me this lovely product that I'm going to show you today to talk about your exterior. And if you've already watched my exterior video, good. I hope that helped you, and I hope you tried it out. So what I use for my exterior, for all my entry points, and for the inside of my cabinet, which I will mention again when I talk about interior, and I actually show you how to spray down the inside of your cabinet with Pestie. So I use Pestie. It's a exterior and interior pest control pro grade control spray. They come with a sprayer. It's retractable for, you know, close, far. You can adjust how close or far or wide the spread is. Very easy. It's a subscription based, and I do talk, you can refer to my Pestie video for more information on that, but it is a subscription based product, very affordable. It's like $35 for each box that you get, and it comes 4 times a year. It's formulated for your area. They literally will change the formula every time your box arrives so that your pests don't get used to it and they don't build immunities to it, you know, and tolerance to it. So that's really cool to me. I really like it. And it's actually less expensive than your pro grades that you get as the service contractors that come in and spray for you, or the ones you get at Home Depot, Lowe's, etc. And they combat and fight every pest that we would worry about as plant growers of indoor aeroids, or not all of you are aeroids, I know that. But it does combat all of those pests that we as plant people are worried about, because most people that are going to use Pestie are mainly concerned about exterior pests like spiders, cockroaches, ants, gnats coming into their home, right? Centipedes, whatever people have coming into their homes that drive us up a wall. That's what that will stop. But it will also stop thrips flying in. It will stop mealybugs. It will stop spider mites in your house. I'm going to spray the soil of my big plants. You can also spray the leaves. It's a microencapsulated formula, so it is protected and it is a slow release, and it's protected by UV rays. So usually UV rays will break down pest control sprays. This one is actually protected. It protects itself from those breakdowns that UV rays can cause. So it lasts a lot longer, which I find very interesting. I talk more about microencapsulation on my other video if you're curious. I like the technical things of things, meanings of things. Poor girl, when I was talking to her about it, I asked her so many questions about it. I'm like, what does it mean? What does it do? Is it this? Is it that? What should I expect? She's like, oh, this girl. But she's very patient, very sweet, so good for her, because I would have been frustrated with myself. But anyways, so I think my husband is going to spray my exterior, whether it's on this video a little bit or on the other one, I don't know yet. You will know now. But we will be spraying all of our exterior entrance points, windows, doors, garages, vents, any sort of access point, guys, every single access point to your home. Spray it and use Pestie. Get Pestie. I promise you'll love it. And I'm also going to be spraying my mom's plant room. So I will be talking about that right now. I'm going to cut, and then we will be at my mom's house. And it will be wonderful. It will be wonderful. So let's do that. Off we go. All right, we are now in her plant room. As you can see, here's all her pretty alocasia. And we're gonna spray her inside windowsill.
Ready?
Yeah. Nice. And look at these pretty babies. So we don't want anything coming in and touching these beauties, do we? Okay, I have returned. What? Did I disturb you, princess? So I do use cleaning sprays. My favorite spray is We the Wild, and I actually have a code for this that I forgot to list for a while here. I've gotten this product, Lord, probably 8 times, probably more than that. Probably gone through 20 bottles of this. I use this like it's nobody's business. This is my favorite. I've never had issues with it. I've only had once the formula was a bit goofy and it left some residue on my leaves, and then it burned it a little bit because then it wasn't breathing correctly. The stomatas were not opening correctly. It wasn't transpiring correctly. So it got a moisture lock in those areas and kind of rotted. But since then, that was a year ago. since then I haven't had any problems. And they actually sent me a new bottle right away and said that their formula could have been at the end of the barrel and they didn't like shake it or rinse it or whatever. So, and make sure you rinse it too. And it's also UV sensitive. I think this one is for sure. Most of them are. So you don't want to spray anything and then have it like this in the sun. It can react to the UV rays and burn. So always use that carefully. I always use it when I'm sitting on the couch watching TV. I'll actually take my microfiber cloth, spray it, and then wipe. So I'm not spraying the stuff everywhere. We the Wild actually has a couple products that I use. This is supposed to be about pest control, I know. But while I have it up, I'll just show you. I love their Grow Concentrate too. It's a overall fertilizer. It's a very natural fertilizer that uses like natural ingredients in their formula. And I use it on a lot of my bigger plants. I just squirt it into the gallon of water and just go with it. And then you can also sprinkle this on the top of the soil when you're doing a watering and spray it in. And it just enriches your soil. I don't have a lot of plants in soil, so it takes me a long time to go through this. But you just sprinkle that in and it will enrich that soil for you. I won't talk about it too much because I would like to talk about this more in my fertilizer and plant general care product video that I have coming up. So the camera's like doing a weird thing. It looks like it's not recording, but it is. Hopefully it is. That would be so horrible. Stop touching your hair. If anyone saw me, they would literally think that I was like Patricia, and I forget the other name. But you know the movie, right? Where they're schizophrenic. They have, well, they split personality. I don't. I'm just so weird. But as far as that, if you're wiping down your leaves on your regular occasion, this actually does have neem in it, so it does sit in those leaves for a little bit and it keeps them protected for a while. I also have the Plant Bar spray as well that I use, but I don't really use that anymore. I mainly use this one. I need to go through them all and actually use them up, but so I use Captain Jack sometimes. I just ran out, but that will be my go-to if I do have a problem. I don't really use them, like I said. This is one I used to use, Dead AF. I can't say I really notice much with sprays. Like I said, I still seem to have more of a problem. The way I've been doing it seems to have lasted the longest as far as prevention. I don't have as many issues anymore. I do have spider mites, or thought they were spider mites, on my 2 plants in my bedroom that are quarantined right now. I couldn't see any live pests, but I saw webbing. Could be a real spider, but I was cautious, washed it, and set it in my bedroom where there are no other plants. So that's one. This is foliage focus in here, but this is what your Azamax container would look like. I'll put up a picture, but you can also use Azamax. Excuse my fingers. I actually have a really bad allergic reaction going on with my fingers right now, and we're trying to get it sorted. I have to like go to a dermatologist and stuff and figure out what's causing it. So my nails look horrid. I can't do them. I can't put nails on anymore because I have such a bad allergic reaction. So don't mind that. I usually have them done, but it does. I'm self-conscious about it, so I have to mention it. But this is what your Azamax container will look like. And I actually save these for my quick kitchen fix. Sometimes I don't use my nice fancy water. I will just use tap water for my big plants, and I will squirt about 1/4 I don't know what it's ounce measurement here, and I'll pour that in my gallon, and then I'll water my big plants. But when Azamax is in here, read it very carefully on how much you need to mix into your water. You can use a pressurized sprayer, which I know I've talked about all these things before, but pressurized sprayer is this. And I have all of these things on my Amazon storefront. If you would like to use something that you see me talking about, I have it there. I'll link it. It's always in the description links in case you're struggling to find it. The other one that I use, this is not systemic. Azamax is systemic and contact, but mostly systemic. I don't like it because it leaves a residue, because it's systemic, it leaves a residue that is thick in nature and sometimes suffocates my plants. Personal experience, I know some love it, swear by it, but I don't like the visual of my leaves getting damaged because of sprays. I don't think it's worth it. You can also use GrowSafe. It's a very milky substance. I don't like the way it looks, but I don't know if you can see it. Hang on. Ew. It's like, it looks like that liquid antibiotic. Let me, hang on, let me pour more in here so you can see how gross it looks. It looks like that liquid antibiotic. Tell me I'm wrong here. Look at it. Watch me drop my camera into it. I don't have the light on, but it's still hard to see. Look at that. Isn't that gross? And it has a really peculiar smell as well. But so I will mix that in my water. This is contact killer. And this is nice because it does tell you if you're prevention using it, if you have an infection, it's moderate, or if you have a severe one, which is one I go for thrips. And then you have one for specifically for aphids because they're going to need higher doses, right? And I know, like I said, I've talked about this before. I know. I'm sorry if it's repetitive, but it is good to know, to follow these instructions, to know if you're just doing prevention, especially if you're a grower, you want to do it like once a month. And then I know nobody says this. I am saying this. If you ever spray your leaves with contact killers, guys, give it a couple hours or even till the next day and rinse those leaves off, or you're going to be sorry. You're going to have damage. You're going to hate it and it's going to look ugly and you're going to be really sad. I like this one. I wipe down my leaves whenever I get the chance, and I will also, if I'm lazy, it's not really lazy, it's actually a better way to do it in my opinion, is I will go and spray or wash my leaves in the tub. So I will take every single plant out, I'll take like a week. Every day I'll take a couple new plants, take them to the tub, take my soap, wash down the leaves, spray them out. I will also spray through the soil, spray through the pond, give it a good flush. And then once I've done spraying out my pond, I will let it sit unempty in the reservoir for a couple days, 3 to 4 days even, until I see it start drying out. And then I will fill my reservoir and put the plant back in there in the water to soak it up again and to do your normal capillary way of watering. So we're going to show you how we wash our plants if we find pests on them. She's using a fairy soap, which is like a Dawn soap. Did you get this from Saudi?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So like Dawn soap essentially. So we literally just use soap. And this is Mom, ALOCASIA Bridget. And let me get closer. All right. So she's just wiping down. You can take a little soft sponge, use your fingers, anything.
I like
just
feeling
massage into the crevices.
Yeah, I just like feeling it so that I can get my fingers sort of in there.
She has a filter on here, so she actually waters her plants from this water here too, which is the nice clean water without any extra harsh minerals or chemicals in it.
I do it twice just to make sure I got all the soap off. I like using the sprayer by the kitchen more.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. She has like obviously the normal things that have this sprayer come out. That's what I do too, is I'll spray it down.
I prefer spraying it with a sprayer because it gets rid of anything that's hanging on there.
Right.
As such.
And she'll usually use her laundry room as her quarantine zone too.
Yeah.
So if she finds, she'll put down a towel or a mat. Sorry, the focus.
I actually have a
And
quarantine
she'll.
right now.
Do you want to show us it?
Yeah, it's right here. I don't know how effective it is because it's in my plant room, but I haven't had any problem. It's just new plants.
Yeah.
I like to do this with. Then I bring them here, and this is just my quarantine section over here right now.
Okay,
So-
it is detached away from everything else, as you can see.
It's kind of everywhere. Everything else is not touching anything else. I like that.
But she did a baby as an example for you guys. She doesn't have pests right now.
No.
So it's all preventative.
But I have been going through one at a time. I did
I
this
do the
guy the other
same.
day. Just because it's been like the whole summer and they had like a lot of dust particles on them.
And they don't like
I
that.
need
And
to
it's good. It's
show
good to
you-
do prevention like that.
Yeah, I had one the other day that was super.
DOT.
Yeah, they just get like dust and all sorts
Look
of
at
written
her
around on them.
Hoya.
So, look at the little pink leaves on her.
So
I don't do
cute.
Hoyas, isn't that cute? I mean, that's not an
Real
alocasia, but it's still beautiful.
Focus. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so cute.
Beautiful.
Right. So, pretty much we've been talking about pests and stuff. As you all know, I don't really use pesticides on my plants if I can help it. If I had a massive outbreak, then I would definitely go that route. But what I do is preventatives. So what I do when I get a plant in the door, especially something like a Jacqueline that has all those tiny hairs with all the little bugs love to cling onto and, you know, hang in there. I take the soap as we did in our previous video and I just kind of gently rinse them off with a little bit of soap on my hands. And then after that, I put them in a little quarantine area for 2 weeks, make sure that there's nothing on them. I take a little magnifying glass that I have and I just check that there's nothing on there at all. Once I've done that, after 2 weeks, they go in my cabinets if there's nothing on them. And then they get exposed to cucumeris, which are, you can purchase on Amazon. They're a preventative, they're a beneficial mite, essentially. And what cucumeris do is they actually eat the eggs and the larvae of thrips and spider mites. So they don't eat the adult bugs of them, but they do handle, I guess they would break the cycle if they went ahead and ate all the eggs and the larvae and stuff. I have not had a problem. I've been using cucumeris, so if you get a plant from me and you see all these little white bugs, they are cucumeris. If you do not want them in your plants, please let us know. I'll repot before I send it to you. All my pond and stuff is washed and whatever and does not have exposure to cucumeris. Just when I send the babies, they probably will have them in because I prefer the prevention rather than the pesticides in my home with dogs and kids and whatnot. So that being said, basically all my plants right now have no bugs, just the cucumeris living in there. I see springtails sometimes, but I think it comes with the stratum free of charge. Mm-hmm. And that seems to handle other stuff. I don't like the springtails as much because I've heard stuff about them that was a bit more negative. So I rinse my stratum out and get rid of that if I can. So basically, yep, everything is pest free. If I do have a problem and I do have a breakout, a massive breakout for some reason, when I first started, I did have spider mites come into my home through a plant that I ordered online and got in, and it did spread. So I used what was that stuff we used? Azamax. I did use that, and that seemed to actually work. It seemed to work to basically kill that cycle, but I have not used that again. We are currently trying a new product called Pestie.
Yes, Pestie.
Yeah. So we're trying a new product right now, just again, prevention rather than the cure. So we've been spraying our windowsills and our door entries and our cabinets, maybe on the base of our cabinets, to stop sort of anything from thinking about even coming into our homes. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mother. You are amazing.
Sure,
Let's see that baby close up.
Oh,
See
it's
those little
so
hairs?
cute.
Come in,
Yeah, yeah, that really is a hairy little thing, isn't it?
Oh, there's the money shot.
Yeah,
Ooh.
and they love to attract bugs.
They do, especially spider mites.
Yep. Spider mites love the Jacquelines or
Or
Thunderoosas anyway.
They do. I'm very good about taking my plants and washing them down because it does avoid that. But as long as you're following some of those main steps, you really shouldn't have any pest issues. My number one must is your exterior prevention. Even if you're in a condo, even if you're in an apartment, you can still spray your windowsills. You can open that up, spray it. And just avoid having anything extra come into your home that's not supposed to be there. Spraying the inside of my cabinet. Very, very good. Very well. Very nice not knowing what I'm saying. Great job. Misty, I'm crazy. Crazy, I say. I'm crazy, I tell you, so crazy. So if you're doing your exterior, it protects your interior. When you're on your interior, you can spray your cabinet, you can spray your plants, you can spray the soil of your plants. And I'm thinking if I'm missing anything. If you do have a bad, like think about it, okay? If you have a really bad pest problem, you don't need a pest leaf spray like Azamax, GrowSafe, Captain Jack's, neem sprays, Midex. You don't need those. Like you really don't. You just wash the little shits off and quarantine and make sure you're treating your soil or your pond or your substrate rather than actually treating the leaves, because roots will carry that and it will effectively treat the leaves. You know, you don't really need all those sprays. They're just nonsense, in my opinion. I used to not think that, but now I genuinely just think it's all nonsense. I don't think it's necessary. Does it work? Sure, it could be effective. It's probably effective, especially if you're taking Azamax spraying. And I've had more plants get upset by Azamax than actually do any good for it, because it like burns my leaves. It suffocates the leaves because it's such an oily substance. And then GrowSafe is your more safer formula. And swapping between the two can help the resistance issue or the bugs building that immunity from it. So you know, make sure you're swapping between from one to the other so that you're avoiding all of that. Other than that, I don't know. I don't use them. I haven't for probably a year. I will say though, I will use it if it's outdoors and my plants are in my porch. Then I will put it in my big pressure sprayer. I will put GrowSafe, and I will go every couple months or like every couple weeks even, or like once a month. And I will then spray the leaves. But if I'm using Pestie this year, I don't need to. I'm just going to spray my screen, my entire screen, the top of my porch, the bottom of my porch, my doors, windows, all of the places I said. And I really shouldn't have a problem even in my porch. And I can spray around my plants in my porch too, like on the actual cement. My porch is cement. I can spray the cement around each planter or the actual pot, the inside of the pot, the substrate medium itself. So there's lots of ways that I can actually use this while I'm doing my normal house exterior walk around to help during the summer my plants. So you don't necessarily need to have the foliar sprays. Yes, you don't. At least now remember, this is just me. This is what I've done. This is how I do things. I'm not a professional, and I'm not, a god at plants either. But this is just what I do through my own experience and my own personal choices. It might not work for you. You might like something else. You might like your sprays. You might find they work very well. For me, I just have my own opinions on those things. So don't feel bad if you're still using that and you're like, oh, but she said. No, she is not boss. I like to think I am. But we all know the real queen is Misty. Yes, she is the real queen. All right, moving on. We're trying to not be slow here, Tasman. Oh my God, I said my name again. This is so weird. I hate saying that. Why do I do that? I don't know. All right, the next one, which I've talked about 3,000 times, I know. Silica. Silica, if you watch the ALOCASIA video I just posted, I talk about this quite a bit. I am making a fertilizer video. I'm very behind because I've been sick, personal reasons and stuff, and I just haven't been feeling the best to make videos. I'm trying really hard to be more consistent. My husband is like helping me schedule videos now so that I'm not overwhelmed by it, because I really love making them, but I just never find the energy. So I did do an ALOCASIA one that talks about this briefly, but I will go into really in-depth on all of the fertilizer pieces I use. I'm using a new company. I'm really liking it, and I want to talk about that, but I'm waiting to make sure I don't have any adverse reactions, which I'm almost at my test period being over. I like to make sure that I'm not going to set any of you guys up for failure. So you take your silica, and silica is basically a nutrient or additive that will, it's empty. I'm waiting for my new one to come. It's I would say, you could say it's kind of like a systemic use, if you will. I'm gonna take this out now because we don't really need that to mix. That was stupid of me. Pretend this wasn't in here. You shouldn't really mix this with, well, you can mix them together, but silica does need time to create a bond with the oxygen atom of the water molecule, and that does take some time. And in order for that to happen, it needs to sit with the H2O in there by itself without any other elements in order for that chemical bond to happen, right? And now we have whatever is in the mosquito bits mixed with the silica, which will be fine. I'm not worried about it. If you aren't noticing a coagulation in your water, your silica is bonding correctly. That's what from what I've read, that's kind of the takeaway. I don't know if that's actually scientifically correct. But if you're noticing the silica is getting chunky in here, see, like, I don't know if you see well, that's chunks from the lid, but it'll get kind of like milk mixed in orange juice. You'll see like lumps. If you see lumps in your water when you mix in silica, that bond hasn't taken place and your silica is not actually going to be effective. It's very easy to see. It's very obvious. And I saw a lot of growers on Reddit also saying that they've used silica and instantly mixed it. Bonds taken place right away. They haven't had any issues. The silica has worked for them. They haven't had nutrient lockout. They haven't had any adverse reactions doing it the way I did previously show you. So I don't think that there is an issue, but technically, scientifically speaking, you want to give it 15 to 20 minutes, even 10 minutes for the bond to take place. And then you add in your other fertilizers, your additives, your micro, macronutrients, all of that. And then you water your plants with it, okay? But silica is a great pest prevention because it strengthens the cell walls. The teeth of pests can't really break through if your cellular wall is very strong, and silica strengthens that wall. So it doesn't keep pests away. It actually just prevents them from piercing the walls of the plant leaves. Does that make sense? I will leave it at that, but it is interesting to look up. Definitely take a minute, check it out, so you can, if you're interested in that kind of science stuff. I like it. Next, let's chat about mold. If you're getting mold on your stratum, let me see, or your corms, what I did yesterday is I had some corms, let me find them for you. I had some corms that were, which child came home? I don't know. I had some corms. I repotted all my corms into these little cups in my cabinet. And a lot of them, when I pulled them out, they actually had mold wrapped around them. That's common. You have to remember you're in a wet, damp, warm environment in your cabinet. Don't be alarmed when you see mold, but you can combat it. So I use a fungicide mixed with, hi baby, give me 1 second. I mix a hydrogen peroxide formula with water and fungicide. And I know, again, I talked about this in my ALOCASIA video. It's very gross. You can see the fungicide there. Hi, babes. How was school? Good. And then what you can just do is if you're seeing mold, I put it in this. This is the fungicide I use. There's plenty online. Any fungicide is going to work if it's made for it also helps with pests. So that's why we're bringing it into this. So it is also an insecticide, a miticide, all of that. So if you're dealing with issues on your plants, especially in your stratum, I notice it a lot. You have like little white aphid-looking creatures walking around, creeping around. We get cucumerus. You want to be careful. Oh, I never talked about cucumerus. But anyways, so I take this. I have this. I got this from Temu, if you watched my Temu video. And I just give it a spray on the top layer. And I just kind of hope it works. And you'll see mold will spread across the top. When you're having mold issues, you'll see it's like kind of like a webbing, almost like a mold. The spores are like spreading. Like cordyceps from The Last of Us. The Last of Us is Last of Us. I love that game. Ugh, and the series. But anyways, I will just spray the top, and you can see it's very clean. Although, to be fair, I'm not gonna lie. I did repot and clean all my substrate yesterday, so it does look extra nice today. It doesn't usually look as nice. Let me show you a more realistic, because we gotta keep things realistic here, huh? We gotta keep things realistic, because that's what this channel's about. But is this on? It is on. But look, this is really ugly. The corms are rough. I never pay attention to this one, unfortunately. And there's some algae mold. Even the bottom is full of algae. And I do have an algae prevention too, which I'm still testing because it's very toxic. And I want to be very careful before I promote or talk about anything that can be toxic. But yeah, so I sprayed the top. It's not going to focus now, of course. There you go. So yeah, easy peasy, a lemon squeezy. And I've done it countless times, and I haven't noticed an issue with it. It seems to be okay. Also, if you want to use another, I have it written down here as well. If you want to do another sort of systemic care preventative, you can use your granules in the soil once a month. You know, just sprinkle a little bit in there once a month and spray it in. Let that kind of go into the root system, and that should also help. I don't do it very often anymore, like I said, but it is definitely an option that you could do. This is systemic granules. Systemic is a preventative, meaning that it will systemically treat the plants, meaning that it'll work for a period of time, like a long period of time. It will continuously stay in the plant system, and it will keep the plant safe for, you know, a couple months, let's say, or a month. In this case, I think it's a month, 30 days, I think. Whew, get my breath out. So I put it in this big thing. It doesn't need to be in this big thing. I get the giant outdoor one. Don't get the indoor small one. It's the same stuff. And if you don't believe that, look at the ingredients on both. It's exactly the same stuff, same quantities. There's like nothing different. And it's just like a, there you go. It's like a granular sand, if you will. So what I do with this, and I know I've shown this a little bit, so if this is repetitive in nature for some of you, I apologize, but let me get my squirt bottle so I can show you accurately. Where did I put it? Oh, it's right here. Silly girl. All right, so I just have my squirt. This is like a chemistry squirt bottle. And I just take some of this. I usually have a smaller container, but I don't right now. So let's pick a plant and just treat the plant. Let's do my Pharaoh mask. I think this is a Pharaoh mask or something mask. But this is just an ALOCASIA. Sorry, guys. It's an ALOCASIA. It's an outdoor one. So it'll come back each year. I forget. It's a mask of some kind. I'll put it on the bottom if I remember. If it will. Hello? There you go. Or not. Hello? All right. We're gonna, that was painful. That was really, really painful. But this is my substrate. I'm sorry it's a little dark. I'm having focusing issues. I'm gonna lose my mind. Okay, but anyways, this is the substrate. It is just a pond mix. I mix 2 ponds together. I mix lechuza with basements pond, which I know I've linked it a bunch of times, but I link it in every description. If you are curious and you want to give it a try, go right ahead. It's always in that description. I link all of the places that I have codes for and coupons for. That's the same thing. Excuse me, cat. But anyways, let's not drag this on as usual. But let me find a little scooper. All right, so I'm just gonna use this. Just a little scoopy. And I'm just gonna put some on here. Now they say to do it like before the soil is covered, but a lot of us already have our plants potted, right? We're not sitting here repotting plants and then putting this on. So you just want to sprinkle it on top best you can, This will help with gnats. It'll help with spider mites. It'll help with aphids. It'll help with a bunch of things. Actually, this one does not help with spider mites. I believe this is the one that doesn't, but it helps with thrips, everything else. So when those eggs wake up, because I know in my video I was rewatching it today, I don't talk about the eggs when you quarantine. So I just wash, right? Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that eggs are off of your plant. So you will have eggs that might be sitting in crevices, in the gaps. So you'll need to rewash or retreat a week later to make sure that none of those eggs hatched and that they're not going to cause havoc on your plants, right? Once you get those systemic granules in that soil, once you've mixed it in a little bit, you don't even need to mix it in, honestly, because if you just sprinkle it on the top and you take your squirt bottle, at least this is what I do. If you just take your squirt bottle then, and even if it's just sitting on the top, this will move it down a little bit. And then you just squirt it in a little bit. It'll get damp. It'll stay damp in the rocks and it will enter the root system. The roots will then drag it all the way up to the top. Let me pull this back up now. It will pull it all the way up to the top and it will go through the veins of the leaves. So all these little tiny veins will actually hold, and there's millions. Like you can't really see them very well, but they're all in here. That will hold some of that and it will go into the actual cellular walls of the plant. So when the pests bite it, it will affect them negatively, especially gnats in your soil. That's a big one we use that for. Works great. I love it. We've been using it for a while, especially during the summer. I notice I have to use it more. It's a good preventative, so definitely doesn't hurt. But yeah, so I will just sprinkle it in and I will go around with my little scooper and I will fill it and I will just go through all my cabinet plants and I will just go sprinkle, 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 la, 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 and then I will squirt it. And if you're hearing this repetitively, most of my videos will be, as I'm doing things, I will talk about why I'm doing them. Even if you've heard them before, it will be repeat information because I like to keep things. Even when I'm doing chores, I still like to educate at the same time because I feel like a lot of people appreciate that and can use it sometimes. We're not all at the stage where we know what to do with everything. So it's definitely beneficial. All right, anyway, so if you really are having a horrible gnat issue, you can also use mosquito bits. I don't use this often, but you can fill this or a water Jesus. Excuse me for blasphemy there. But you can use a water source of some kind, like this jug, and you take these, you can either directly throw them in, which I don't recommend, but you can get like tea satchels or like little tea bags that like tie at the top. Hang on. All right, so I went and got one for you guys to see. So if you have one of these little tea bags, you can get them on Amazon. They're just little baggies and they zip up like this. They just cinch up. And you can take your, I'll show you, I might as well show you, huh? So you can take your, and this will help with the mosquitoes, the gnats, the larvae, all of that. They're so annoying during the summer because that hot, wet, juicy environment, you know? So you just take a little bit, make sure I'm in the camera. You put it in your little tea baggie. It doesn't need to be a ton. I do notice it a little bit in my fluval, my stratum, rather. And you put it like this, you zip it up, and then you can dunk it in, get it soaked, have it soak in, and then you can tie this so it doesn't get lost. I just dunk it in there and leave it. Doesn't matter. And you can just tie it. Another thing you can do, which I've seen my mom do actually, because she gets lazy to do like all this kind of stuff, the going over the board and doing all the tying and this, she will just take the little pellets like this. Wash your hands afterwards, of course, but she'll just take the pellets. Hang on. Like that, and she will take it. I don't know if you can see my plant. Let me touch it to make sure. Yeah, so she will just take it and sprinkle them on the top and just water them in and let them stay there. That way they kind of activate a little bit with each watering, and that will kill larvae. It'll kill those gnat babies. It'll kill any live springtail, mosquito babies. They're like little tiny creepy crawly little aphid looking things. It will get rid of those for you. And like I said too, you can also just pour the pellets directly into your squirt bottle when it has had time to settle, because it has to soak in here for quite a bit for it to actually activate. I usually leave it overnight. Then you can pour that through all of your pond, your substrates, your stratum, your soil, whatever medium you have, you just pour it right through, and then you let it dry. Obviously you can see I'm heavy towards one product. I am Pestie. I don't really think I need to use much else. It's just a waste of money at that point when I'm already doing it everywhere in my house, including my cabinets. I said that so many times, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself. But you don't really need to. So go make sure to go check them out. See what they're all about, form your own opinion on it. Go on YouTube. I spent hours watching YouTube content on Pestie itself to make sure that I was getting a product that actually worked, that, you know, wasn't fibbing. You never know these days. And this company seems very legit. They seem very kind, very sweet, very on par with pro grade pest sprayers out there. They're like matched with them, but cheaper. Oh, my mother is calling me. Hello, mother, I'm making video. I'm ending it now. Perfect. Is it there? Oh, my camera got too hot. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this was informative. Hopefully this was helpful. And if you have any questions, do not feel shy or bashful to ask. Go ahead and ask. Go ahead and critique anything you found needed critiquing. I don't mind. Criticism is great. And more ideas are even greater. If you do something else that you find is better or more effective, that costs less money, tell me. Tell me. I'd love to hear it. But thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me grow. And that's all I want right now, is just to grow, reach some new friends, and build a better, bigger community. Not better. We're already perfect. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. But I will put a code down in the description below for Pestie and for We the Wild. Make sure to check that out. Make sure to go get it. And if you get their subscription, let me know, because I want to know. I want to know everything. I'm so intrusive. So intrusive. But have a lovely rest of your week and have a great weekend. And I look forward to hearing back from you guys. See you next time.